Yes, we're live. All right, there we go. Here we go. There we go. Good afternoon. Well, good morning, Eastern time, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you for joining me on another episode of, or an episode of Thriving Beyond Borders with Nambi. I do this every week. We talk about, just factors that are affecting African immigrants here in the diaspora, here in the United States. And I'm excited about today's session. I have as usual, we have exciting topics, and I'm excited to get into this one. But before I get started again, let me know how your week has been in the chats. Let me know, and please feel free. Every time you watch this, if you have questions or things that you want discussed, and please feel free to use the chat. I always go through it, send any notes, any thoughts, any of those things. I will be glad to speak on these things. Or if there's even questions around AIM and what we're doing and how we are, it's because it's not just talking about these things and doing this. Yes, this is very important, but also um, you might want to know what we're doing to also address some of these things, beyond just talking about it. We are actually putting infrastructure in place for a lot of the things that we talk about. And so it's important to highlight that. But please, before again, the other thing I needed to do, let's subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on LinkedIn and all the social media platforms. Let's do what we need to do so this message can keep reaching as many people as it needs to reach. Now, I want to talk about today career growth factors. This month's first half of this first couple of months into the new year, we're just talking through again. Most people are in that New Year resolution stage. Most people are in that I am trying to get a new career, new job, new business. And so we're spending this early parts of the year talking about it. From next month, we'll start transitioning into other things that affect what's going on within the community and what we're working towards. Um, but what are some career growth factors that you actually control, right? Career growth factors, what's actually in your control is today's topic. Uh, so there are many things we cannot control. Clearly, there are many things beyond your control as a career professional or somebody who's navigating career change. Here in the United States, there are things that are within your realm of control, and there are some things that are not. Right, things around the economy, policy shifts, leadership decisions. These things, they always happen, they don't stop. Um, Conditions will never be perfect around all of those things, right? They are imperfect. There will always be changes, things happen around who is in power, what political parties, those things do what they do. We have zero control over those things, right? It stalls when we stop focusing on what it's out of our control, right? The moment you focus on things beyond your control, you're going to stall progress. You're going to restrict how fast you go. So, my goal today is, to provide you practical things and steps and action items you can start doing, things within your control, that will uh, empower you and help you take more ownership of your career. And again, from somebody who has been in career a long time here in the United States, working almost 12, what, actively in corporate America for over the last 12 years, but also running my own business and leading a nonprofit. Um, I'm coming from wearing all of these hats that I talk about. And so I know a thing or two about what I am talking about. And part of the things that I do is, in the workforce development space. And so typically we just coach people to help them get into careers in information technology. That's my other passion outside of serving the community. With this is still serving the community, but that's where I'm coming from with all of my expertise. Now, why does this matter for us as immigrants? Why is this an important conversation that we need to be having now? Um, a lot of times we feel doubly constrained, right? It's almost like, again, there's a constraint of immigration status, especially today, right? Some, especially if you're not yet at that green card and your work authorization or H1, all of those things, it tends to be, again, um, restrictive, and between what you can and can't do, there's that constraint. There's also uncertainty around the market. For people who are in that realm, and even for people who are not going through requiring sponsorship or any of that. It's still there's still constraints that we have to face. But for us as immigrants, um, we have this, extra constraints that we have to deal with, and that's why this topic matters again. What you control, what you don't. And then when these external uncertainties rise up, people either freeze or overcorrect, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to get us to not do anymore, especially in 2026. When people get into the situations where they don't know what to do, or it feels like they're stuck, um, they just stop. They get stuck and then they stop completely, or they overdo it, which again, none of these two options are good for us. And so, how do we, or what do we need to be doing instead? What most resilient professionals, which one of the attributes of I always talk about for immigrants that we have is we are just flat out very resilient people. One of the things that makes us great, uh, great professionals, is we double down on the controllables when the uncontrollable gets noisy. The things that we have control over, we double down on those ones, and the ones we don't, we let it be. All right. So again, let's establish what's not in your control quickly. Immigration policy changes; those are beyond our control. We're not. We don't have anything. As a professional, you're not in politics. You're not a politician. You don't necessarily have control over that. Um, if you're a citizen and you can vote, you have some say, right? So do you have power at the election polls, and this is a very important election year for us in the United States. So we will spend a lot of time as we get closer to that season, talking about and speaking on all of this. But um, yeah, it's immigration policy changes. We don't have any control over that. We don't have any control over hiring freezes or layoffs. A lot of companies do this once a year. They will, based on how well they've performed or not, with respect to their goals or some organization, they do layoffs to, balance out and make sure the money works. Um, a lot of time people get hacked in those processes. It's not because they're not good employees. It's just what's the reality of the company is. We have hiring freezes where due to we experienced the biggest, the most elaborate one I've seen was during COVID, where a lot of companies had hiring freezes, and so therefore a season, no new person, there was no new hires, except in essential workers in the industries considered essential, where we saw people get jobs, or still there was still some hiring activity. But during COVID, most companies did a hiring freeze. Um, Companies will do that typically at specific times during the year. They'll have a hiring freeze, and not hire because they need to reset certain things. And so those are things that are beyond our control. Other things beyond your control, office politics. It is what it is. Anybody who has been in corporate America long enough understands this idea, and how corporate politics works. I've seen jobs open and like, hey, whatever happened to this? Who is this person? Oh, this is the uncle of the cousin of so and so person. It's the game is the game. Nepotism is everywhere. In my place, we call it Immigrant. It works, right? It's everywhere, or just the people pandering to get favor, people trying to over exaggerate, take credit for work maybe they don't necessarily do. Um, Very common. It's very common in corporate, and so those things you don't control. I was going to say, you don't want to you don't want to wade in those waters, but it depends, right? There is, as long as you play the game the right way, then play. Right, the game is the game. Visibility matters. What do you need to do to be in front of right people? So that's a different meeting and different conversation for a different day. But don't say I'm going to office politics is not necessarily bad. It's how you play it. It's when people throw away their morals and their values to get ahead. That's where it becomes nasty. And but outside of that, it's playing by the rules to get get advantages that you've earned. Do what you got to do. All right, and then leadership decisions, those are factors beyond our control. There's leadership changes, they decide to do a different thing. New leadership comes in, they want to bring their own identity and their own fingerprints on how operations run. Very standard. Those are things that are beyond our control, and then we have um, global or national headlines. You can't do anything about those. So you don't have to spend energy fighting things you can't control. Energy spent fighting what you can't control is energy stolen from what you could actually move, what you could actually do to move you forward. Right. So the energy you're giving to things you don't control and you're getting frustrated about, uh, policy and politics in the office and hiring freezes. You're using energy you can be leveraging to advance yourself in other areas. So, what are the ones I can control really quickly? What are things that are within my realm that I need to be focusing on? Number one, skill relevance, right? Skill relevance. Are your skills aligned with the current and the future demand in your space, right? If people talk about artificial intelligence, that comes to mind first, right? With the future of work, and what roles, what career paths are affected or going to be affected. We've seen so many prominent people talk about job titles that will not exist and jobs that won't exist in the near future. I want to say personally, there has been um, AI is great, but I feel like the energy invested into adopting it. I think people didn't want to miss out on the wave, and there was a very massive push to adoption, early adoption, and I feel like the adoption was faster than AI's ability to deliver. So I'm putting that as a trend. If you're seeing this, let me know. I was having this conversation with another colleague, and that's something that came up. It's like people expected this thing to do all of this, and it does. It's great, but the way we adopted, the way a lot of companies overcorrected or over adjusted in preparation for AI, in terms of hacking of staff and just driving everything to go AI, go the AI route. Um, you, now we're seeing people are, oh, okay, coming back. That job that we were hoping AI could do for us. I think we still needed to come look over it. So where I'm going is AI technology advancement. AI is just another language for it's just the technology that's advancing today. But tech has always been disruptive in terms of reducing or impacting very specific types of roles. So I want to highlight that. So AI is just its own thing today. That's the future of work. Are your skills aligned with the current and the future demand for your space, for your realm, for your area of expertise? Because those things will determine whether you should be doubling down, pivoting, or what you need to be doing. But skill alignment, skill relevance is super important. You should be thinking about that. Uh, as you start thinking about skills, you should be thinking more in the lines of depth over credentials. Um, this is very important because we love credentials as Africans. We love certificates, we love degrees, we love those things, right? And it's good. It makes us who we are in terms of just accomplishments and uh, um, the average African person walking the streets is walking around with 2 degrees at least, your bachelor's and a master's degree for the most part. The ones, especially the immigrants who came here. A lot of you listening to me came here on student visas, right? So you came to do your master's. That was your first access into America in the first place. So we like certifications. We love certifications. We'll get the latest ones every day. I pop on LinkedIn, and it's celebrating achievement and new certification, and it's my people, which is it's incredible. It really shows our love for knowledge and our desire to not just learn but show show that we know what we know. It's a great thing, but beyond the credentials, I think we need to also start focusing on um, depth. Do you know the thing? Right? Build credibility in terms of expertise, build credibility in terms of depth, build authority, build mastery. Focus on mastery over paper. That is what I'll say. Make sure you are striving for mastery in your area of expertise and the thing that you are in your area. Get the credentials, but be more focused on depth. I should have a conversation with you, and even if I have no idea what your field, about your field, I should leave that conversation feeling like this guy knows what they're talking about. Does that make sense? That's the goal. Every conversation should leave me like, yes, this person, if I was going to make a hiring decision about around this, even with limited knowledge of this space, I trust the way you sound. It makes sense. That should be your goal. Depth over credentials. Credentials, if you're diligent enough in studying, you will pass any exam. Especially here in the United States, exams are definitely not the ultimate test of knowledge. That was an argument for back in, like, why do we need exams again? All the things we learned back in school and where they apply in real life. But the way schooling and education is done here is very different from how we did it back home. I digress. So continuous learning is a strategy that we need to have. It needs to be a habit to adopt. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm no longer working. No, no, no. Every year there has to be a personal development agenda for you. When you do your goals and your plans for the year, you have to be working towards a particular goal in terms of how am I improving myself? How am I making myself more valuable? Whether it's a certification, whether it's a training, whether it's a conference, there needs to be those goals, but you're not just, again, go doing it for the paper. You're doing it to actually expand your mental capacity, expand your skill set, expand your toolbox, make yourself more relevant to the day, right? So that's what we should be doing. If you're somebody who AI is making noise in your space, what are you doing about that? Are you are you leaning into it, instead of being skeptical? Are you, identify what you need to know in your own realm and go start learning? Again, don't just move with trend, do what's relevant. So for some, it's getting in depth into particular tools. Not every tool is for everybody. All right. So again, let me get away from AI. Number two factor that's within your control is your work ethic and consistency. This is super important. Again, typically, it's not a challenge that we have. We work hard, literally. Africans in the diaspora, the weight of obligations just naturally drives us to be work hard, be hardworking people, which is good. But I'm doubling down on that. Your work ethic should never be in question. Your consistency, your showing up. I've seen this with people after a while when they are fully assimilated, then they begin to change. The things that you did that got you to where you are, you need to continue, right? If you showed up early by 7 o'clock every day and it gained you a certain level of uh, uh, um, credibility at work, then you need to continue to sustain and even advance. You would need to continue that. So be consistent in the things that got you to the top and the things that got you over the hump. Don't get over and then stop doing those things. That is a that is not sustainable. That is ridiculous, actually. So I've seen people do that, get complacent when they attain some level of success. When you do that, the times will pass you by, right? The technology will pass you by. You will realize that you're not relevant anymore. You realize that because the thing that you held onto, the thing that made you you, it's going to evolve. Even like the platforms, the technology, the career paths that were in vogue yesterday are not the ones. It's always evolving, right? It's always changing. Even in the essential careers, you still have to keep upskilling, right? Even doctors have to attend conferences. Even doctors have to do, lawyers, all of these places that are staple, still have to constantly uh, um, upgrade their credentials. They still have to, because technology within those realms is still evolving and getting better. So if you're going to be relevant in your space for a long time, man, it's super important. Not now begin to struggle when you've attained a level of, okay, I'm good. No, if you want to stay good, you have to be consistent. You have to show up well even when things are uncertain. You have to be dependable. Your people should be able to trust you. Your bosses, your managers, they need to be able to say, you know what, this person is reliable. There is nothing as strong as being reliable. I feel like in rooms where you're not, it's these are the things that speak for you. These are things that come up when you are not present to speak for yourself or make your own case for yourself. When decisions are going to be made about you and you're not present, it's this work ethic, it's consistency, it's You're showing up for work. It's doing your work well consistently. It's delivering properly. It's taking time to do that ticket and put all the notes and do it. And you're known for this person put it takes their time to do this ticket, right? It's all of those small things. The consistency of it is what helps you stand out. That's something that's within your control. The other thing that, factors, growth factors that are within your control, visibility and relationships. The game is the game. That is one thing that I know I've had to learn, with working here since I got into corporate America, um, 13 years ago now, is visibility. Your work, we grow up believing your work will speak for itself. Your work will speak for you, and it does. But sometimes your work doesn't say enough. Your work doesn't your work does not it will speak for itself, maybe not for you. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to learn to advocate for yourself. Who knows your work? If you're doing a project, let your name be all over it. Let your contribution to that project be known. To the people who need to know, let it be known. Recently, I was part of a project, and we're going through, and I did a lot during the project. And all of that. But at every point, the guys were so grateful. Like the other, it was a collaborative effort with my team and another team, well, multiple teams, and I don't want to get into the details of it. But the key point of contact for the application side of this project was so thankful for how I was working and delivering on the work, um, because they had some challenges in the past navigating this. And every point in time when I said I would playfully say, hey, let this person, my supervisor, know. All right. Oh, that's great. But just make sure you say it to this person. Make sure you mention it. When you do your report, mention how I did. Right. It's visibility is important. If you do work and do it well. Now, when I did go to sit with my supervisor for my quarterly appraisal or all of that project and the words, like literally the part of the things that gave me the what I call it good grades was comments from the person that I had supported through this project. Right? Visibility, you have to own it. You have to own your work. You have to make sure people know if you do something, you're putting your name behind it. If there's opportunities, there's something my wife calls the raised hand framework. It is raising your hands for difficult assignments. Oh, who has done this before, who has experience with this? I have. If you have not, but you want to explore that and you feel like you have some knowledge there, who wants to take a stab at this? Let me do that. I think I've been looking for an opportunity to explore this a little bit more. I would love to take an opportunity. I would love to take a stab at this. Let me drive this one. Right. Raise your hand. And just let people know you to be that person who does the work. Now, don't stretch yourself beyond stretch yourself, but don't take work home. Like, know where the balance. That's not what I'm not asking you to take work home and then just do more than you should, or what you no. But during the time frame you're constrained where you're supposed to work in, make sure that the work you're doing is consistent and people know that you've done. Like, let people know the great work you do. We do great work. It's part of our DNA. In our context, we do great work. I can say that confidently. We do great work, but it doesn't come naturally to us to brag about our work or to advocate for ourselves. It's not culturally our thing. And a lot of our people don't get passed on for opportunities because we've not embraced this part. And you have to speak up. You have to raise your hands, right? Visibility. Now, the second one is relationships. Again, this is another don't talk to strangers was a core value for most homes, right? Growing up because of the situations that we're in. But a lot of times we also carry that to this place and we have not learned how to talk to strangers. But the blessings you're looking for is in the hand of the stranger. We need to start looking at developing relationships, relevant relationships, developing and nurturing those relationships, prospecting and reaching out on LinkedIn and saying, hey, I like what you do. I'm interested. I want to stay connected, right? At your job, we need to start cultivating relationships like mentors. people who are ahead of you, who you can go to say, hey, what do you think? I'm navigating this career decision. What do I need to do? Or how do you recommend I go about this? We need this even for business, right? Even for entrepreneurship. You need mentors who have gone ahead of you. They can, who you can go ask questions, be vulnerable, who are not threatened by any great thing, who are not too impressed or impressed or threatened, right? You don't want a mentor who is threatened by your success or who is too impressed by what you're doing. No, no, you want somebody who, whatever you do, doesn't praise them, right? They've seen it, they've done that, they're ahead of you. You need somebody ahead of you who can say, nope, don't do that, or yes, do this, or you are thinking about something and you can bounce ideas off of them. Right? You need a mentor, you need a sponsor. Recently, the last couple of years, been learning about the difference between these two. Mentor, sponsor, both are up-down relationship. They are ahead of you, but a sponsor is a door opener. A mentor is more like a counselor. It's like an advisor. It's a senior brother. It's like, hey, don't do that, do this. A sponsor is not just telling you, but they are also advocating for you. They are ones that will be able to go to places and say, hey, you need to consider this person. You need to reach out to them. You need to talk to this person. You need to. They make meaningful connections. They speak for you in rooms that you're not in. They intentionally look for opportunities to push you forward. You need somebody who is advocating for you within your job, in your business. And again, I'm adding these two words together. But you need a sponsor. You need a mentor. You need a sponsor. You have to. This will not. For some people, it happens automatically, right? Where naturally they just have people attracted to people, and these people just decide, you know what, I'm going to, root for it. But if you identify people in your career, in your life, who can serve in any of these capacities, your job is to intentionally nurture those relationships. Once you're connected to them, you need to be the one to do the work of making sure this relationship is, going. Maybe one of these sessions we will talk more about um, mentorship and sponsorship and how to navigate that. You need advocates, community advocates, again, people who are speaking for you, peers who are supporting you, who are cheering for you, who you can go to and say, man, this is what's going on. How do I navigate this? Right? You need those people. Um, you need to be we need to have so-called strategic presence, right? Strategic presence over silent excellence. That's what I have here. Strategic presence over silent excellence. That's the word. Strategic presence over silent excellence. That is the silent excellence is normally it's been our badge. I'm great, but nobody knows. I'm great by myself. No, 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 not in 2026. We're going to be great and we're going to talk about it. We're going to let people know that was me. I did that by the grace of God. Right. I did that. It's not a bad thing, to be a little bit, talk about. And again, it's not pride. I did that is I did that. You did it. All right. That's my work. Proud of it. I put in a lot of work. I put in the time. You get credit for it. Take credit for your work. All right. The next career growth factor that's within your control is your mindset and emotional regulation. Again, super important, whether it's around fear, around aggression, overreaction. These are things we need to take control of, right? So you don't want to be having like fear-based decisions versus clarity-based decisions. When you make decisions out of fear, you make mistakes more than likely, right? If your decisions are fear or maybe just excitement based too, we talk about fear, but also the extreme of it, where you're just overly excited and then you whether it's over invest or those. So it has to be based on clarity, based on data, based on facts. Avoid fear-based decisions. Oh, you're here. Well, um, AI is coming and is taking over all of the jobs, and so I'm not going like you. You are correct. There are no more. You hear like, hey, this particular field, no jobs as, and then without any research, just rumors, you decide, I'm going to quit my job. I need to get into this lane. No, there has to be some systematic approach to these things. You can't just move with trends because they never stop. There's always going to be a new one. Bible talks about being blown by every wind of doctrine. You can't be blown by every wind of doctrine. That is not sustainable. That is not something that you can keep doing, for a long career. So That's emotional regulation. Avoid any comparison spirals. Okay, this person is doing this, and that's what I got to do now, right? This is where the market is, and so I have to be. No, again, not saying don't pivot. I'm an advocate for making those changes, but they have to be driven by data. You've done your research. You've done okay. This space I want to get in, does it align with my values? Or does it align with my skill sets, not values, but my skill sets, my experiences? Is there any adjacent skills I already have? What's the steps involved in this transition if I was going to do it? Like make career changes, make career pivots, but let it be based off of data that you have. Let it not be spontaneous, any of that. Even if you have to move quickly, you still have to take some time and take some thought. Put some thought into what the steps are going to be that'll be required. Again, going back to a Bible reference, if you want to build a house, first sit down and count costs. That's how the Bible phrases it. I'm paraphrasing. Says which of you who's seeking to build a tower will not first sit down and count the cost. If you're going to build, you have to count the costs. All right. So that is the next growth factor that is within your control. Number five in the growth factors within our control is preparation and positioning. Um, just like everything else, we have to you own your preparation, how you show up, right? Resume is your resume ready? You want the new job you're exploring. You have a resume set to go. If somebody says, "Hey, send me your resume," it's then when they ask you to send your resume, you will start building a new one that's aligned with what you're trying to do. Your resume has to be ready. Interview readiness. If you're called up now, listen, hey, something just opened up. They need to speak to somebody I have available today. Um, and you have the time, you should be able to show up and speak and make sense without having to be prepared for at all times. You control this one. It's about knowing your stuff. So resume preparedness, interview readiness, professional storytelling. Can you tell the story of your career? Can you tell, walk people through, say, walk me through your journey, walk me through this without looking at your resume? Can you talk through your career progression? Can you talk through what you do and, speak to it from a this is what this role entails and this is what I do, right? Can you paint those pictures? I'm able to, one of the things that I love and I teach my students how to about, teach people that I mentor and I coach is listen, this is how you present yourself. The scope of this is the scope of this work, but when you're telling your story, this is what you want to lean into. These are the things you want to highlight because that's what they are listening for. Okay, so know your, be prepared. Like have that level of preparation, ready to talk through your career. Um, and this is super important. So these are the things that we can control. So I'll go through them quickly again. Your skill relevance is number one. I talked about your work ethic and so your work ethic and consistency. That's number two. Visibility and relationships is number three. Mindset and emotional regulation is number four. Preparation and positioning is number five. These are the factors that you can control. Again, control doesn't mean comfort. It means responsibility. Own your own your career, own your journey, own your story, take ownership, take responsibility, full responsibility. All right, I hope somebody's gained some value from this. Before I wrap it up today, I want to speak on just, you know, immigration, the immigration pulse. I started this, I debuted this segment a few weeks ago, immigration pulse. Where I just talked through what's going on within the immigrants ecosystem and address, any things that I feel like need to be addressed, and I want to take the platform to talk about um, all of that. There has been a lot's been going on, but last week Saturday, the African American Collective we had our town hall to open up the year and initiate and launch our programming and events and all of that. And one of the things that we highlighted was we talked through a lot of things, addressing, and we will, if you're within our community, please, we will be sending out like a replay and some notes from the event. But there was a lot of conversation around the current um, climate, especially surrounding immigration. Some of the things we're hearing and seeing from Minnesota, the presence of ICE in Atlanta and different cities. Um, so that was a big conversation. And we had experts, we had lawyers, we had elected officials, members of the House of Reps who are present for this conversation. And one thing that I that we left, addressing all the issues and how to handle things and deal with stuff. There was a lot of that. I can't get into all of that. It was an exhaustive conversation. But the one thing that we left there with was hope, and I want to extend that hope today on this call. People are not giving up, right? The greatness of this country is it's a nation of law and order. It is built on the Constitution. And no matter how much anybody tries to ignore it, um, that thing was built to last. That's why we chose this country. That is why we've called this place home, because it is a place where, for the most part, it's if you play by the rules, if you do your part, if you work hard and you play by the rules, you are you, there's there's the American dream and the American promise that you will do well, you'll be okay. Um, and that was the thing that we've seen come under attack is that promise, that a lot of us came here, with or based off of. But it was very reassuring and it was very comforting to see that there are still organizations that are standing up. There are lawsuits that are going. The temporary protected status for Haiti that was initially removed has been reinstated because it was fought in the courts. And so these systems that were built to make sure there was justice is still working. And while things might look like a lot of blatant things are going on and all of that, I want to assure everyone that the system still works. Again, don't react in fear. Don't react in fear. I've emphasized it a lot the last few weeks now. One thing you don't want to be doing is navigating your journey alone. In this climbs and this, in this ecosystem, make sure you are not, make sure you have a community, make sure you have your people, make sure you have the people. If you're in a situation where you're still going through you're still doing your papers, you're still going through immigration, then make sure you have a lawyer that you have their number on standby. Right? It's just the reality of the days that we live in, so that if for anything you're good. I have the number to call. I have people to, um, I have people that can reach out, to, right? Put things in place. You have kids, all of that. There's a power of attorney that you can, right? Again, these are some of the legal things that we talk through. Just in case of anything, your kids are protected. They are safe. They're in trusted hands. Um, so all of these things, just make sure do your best in terms of preparation. Play by the rules. It's If you don't need to be anywhere, don't be there. um, move with caution. Um, these times again are so sensitive. Um, if especially for still navigating your immigration process, or you have pending cases, whatever it is. But that's my feeling is the system is still working. The American system, the American promise is still real. And I would just want to take this again, not necessarily reacting to there's so much I don't want to highlight. I highlighted things. The news is the news, and I want to be a harbinger of hope on this platform. So please let's stay let's stay locked in. Let's stay hopeful. Let's stay engaged. This is an election year for everyone who is a citizen. This is not going to be a passive one. We can't be passive about government. Begin to get involved, even locally in your communities, in your HOA, in school boards, in your city council. Start getting involved, start getting plugged in, start lending your voice, start giving your opinions. We are intelligent people. You have solutions within you. Let's start becoming more active in government, whether, let's start becoming participants in government. And it doesn't mean you have to run for office or be in hold political elected positions. It's in making sure your voice is being heard. It's in standing up, it's in speaking up, it's in getting involved, it's in volunteering, it's in community. Right. Again, that's why we exist as the African American Collective. And so that is my spiel today. And that's where I'm going to tie it up. Again, if you have not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're not connected to the African American Collective, our community primarily now is on WhatsApp, but we also have our community platform. Just send us a message. Let's get you connected. Let's get you plugged in. We're doing a lot. We just opened up enrollment for our Career Reboot Catalyst program. Please, if you're in a space where you're looking to make a change in your career, whether you're looking to get promoted, you're looking to make a pivot, whatever it is, um, go sign up for that program. It's focused on you. It's focused on the person who wants to make a career change this year. Last year was a an interesting year in terms of the job market. A lot of our people were impacted, lost jobs, all of that. And so we want to help people reposition themselves to be successful this year. So that's the Career Reboot program. Let's go ahead and sign up for that, and we'll get this going. We're looking to do a lot more with churches, with colleges, universities. So if you're plugged into any of those communities, please reach out to us. We'd love to partner up. We'd love to do some work together. And lastly, I'll announce on the immigration front, we are launching our immigration clinics. So every first Saturday of the month, we will be having our immigration clinics. Please make sure that you are plugged in. And if you know anybody who has questions and all of that, you'll be meeting one on one with an attorney, and they'll be answering and providing direction, for your situation. So that's something that we are launching. One of the things we've wanted to do to again make sure our people are equipped and know what feel comfortable navigating this climate that we're in. So that's that. Again, there's a you can't control the seasons, but you can control how prepared you are when it comes. Right. So that's something. Don't get overwhelmed when the seasons change. You can't control that, but you can control how prepared you are for season changes. Thank you again for everything. Thank you for rocking with us. Next week is going to be another incredible conversation. So I'm looking forward to getting into all of that with you. And tell somebody about this. Subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on all the platforms. Until I come your way again, my name is Namdi. God bless you. I'll see you next week.